Chris Berman. Let's get straight to the action. In our first game this week, we had the Dolphins decisively win by 17 points. Taylor Jacobs stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. Kenny Mixon will be moving on from his current address, and he gets a pretty good deal to do it. 2 years, $1.9 million.
Steven Jackson had over 50 yards receiving and helped his Rams beat the Texans. Down in Dallas, in the Lone Star State, we had the Cowboys lose by a 12-point margin. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Patriots pick up their first win of the year. Lions, Giants. Kenny Watson would certainly like to help his team get into the end zone. And he's set 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage now. Looks to bounce outside. Does so. Gets a block. Touchdown. 10 yards. The Giants go on to win this by the final score of 19-17. Down in Nashville, we had the Titans squeeze out a 4-point victory. The Seahawks defense held their opponents to under 100 rushing yards in their win at Seattle Stadium. The Browns won decisively at home, but will take to the road next week to meet the Bengals. Plaxico Burress had a stellar game, but all said and done, his performance wasn't enough to lift his team to a victory. Brett Favre threw for over 200 yards and helped his Packers beat the Broncos. Cardinals, 49ers. Dante Hall is probably thinking end zone even though it's at the 24-yard line. They need just a little bit for the first down. Aha! There he goes down the sideline. One-handed grab for 6. The 49ers win this one by the final score of 20-17. In the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, we had the Eagles get sent away with a 7-point loss. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. Luckily, we had a relatively injury-free week, which makes my job just that much easier. Abbott is arguably the biggest name on this list. It's reported that he's fractured his leg and that he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. There's a chance, however, they'll get him back for the playoffs. So that'll do it for now. Boomer, back to you.
Down in Alltel Stadium, we had the Jaguars lose by just a single point. The Bengals defense held their opponents to under 100 rushing yards in their win at Ralph Wilson Stadium. And in our final game, we had the Buccaneers come away victorious. So, 2 weeks into the books here on ESPN, here's my prime time performers for week number 2, and each is going to get a game ball. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.